Holy annual celebrations. This is Flight Check Season 2, Episode 11. We're back for our 1-year anniversary, talking FlyQuest in all capacities, whether that's our inevitable playoff run all the way to Houston, whether that's Nox War getting sucked up into a tornado live on air tonight, whether that's my smoke alarm going off over and over again all throughout the show, even though I literally replaced the batteries 2 months ago. Hello, maintenance. It's not my alarm's fault. It's not the battery's fault. It's your alarm. Please fix this. If anyone for my apartment maintenance is listening to this show, which is very unlikely. My name is Sandy Toes, and to my left and my extra left, as always, for 1 year running, my fellow hosts, Nox War and Curly Double Q. Gentlemen, we have made it a full year. How does that feel to you? Can you look back like a year ago to where you were a year ago and be like, oh, wow, could you have really thought that this would have gone for a full year?
No, it's crazy. It doesn't even feel like a year, right? Yeah. I've gone through two jobs now, and I'm in my other job. And then here I am, and this has been like one of the most consistent things in my life.
Yeah.
It's crazy and also really awesome in a whole other way. I love it. I love doing this with you guys. I'm happy we made it for a year, and I'm looking forward to another.
Yeah, and all we have to do is hope that you manage to survive the night. So it's really that easy.
Right.
Really good.
Tonight.
Curly, where were you a year ago? What was your life like?
My life a year ago was relatively similar to what it is now, stressing about college and trying to figure out how I'm going to make league content, except now I get to do it weekly with you guys, and So I didn't know what this would become a year ago. I was like, I'm just hopping on this project with some guy in the Discord that I've never met who said, I want to make content. I was like, I can do content things. I like League of Legends. I like FlyQuest, and it's crazy. Now we got 101 followers. We've got a few subs. And we're going farther. And we're all trying to figure out how to get to Houston because FlyQuest is going to make playoff. It's insane.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I never not that we're making money, but we've had money given to us. I never thought that would be something that would happen.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's a little incredible to me. And sometimes I have to sit back and think wow, there's 10 to 15 people watching this right now. It's imagine having 10 to 15 people in a room listening to everything you're saying. That's actually incredible. So thank you everyone who has tuned in, whether you are a consistent viewer or listener, whether this is your first time watching the show, whether it's been a while for you. Thank you so much for the support. We love doing this show. We love supporting this org, and rest assured we will keep on doing this for as long as we possibly can. So let's get into it. Reminder, if you cannot catch all of this anniversary show tonight, the VOD will be available here and on YouTube on our channel, Flight Check Podcast, and the audio version will be available on all of your favorite listening platforms as well. All right, week 7. Let's just do the sum up. Kind of the inverse, I think, of what we all predicted.
Kind of? You mean exactly?
losing to Golden Guardians and beating Team Liquid, truly counter FlyQuest. That was... First of all, there's so much I could say about both games, and we'll get into, first off, the Golden Guardians game first. But what I want to say is the Team Liquid game probably should have been a loss, and the Golden Guardians game probably should have been a win. At least from, my perspective. Nox, just on that statement alone, how do you feel about that statement in particular?
Yeah, no, completely agreed. The Golden Guardians game, actually, the first, I don't have the time off the top of my head. Sorry, the rain is picking up. But our early game was insane. Like, it was probably one of the cleanest early games that we've had in quite a while, right? So I'm sitting here watching it. Our fundamentals look good. We're having great objective priority. We have great pushing lanes. Everything's looking fantastic. We even have a couple picks here and there, and it's great. And then it very, very quickly goes downhill. Moments, and that's kind of how we've been kind of winning some of these games. But this one was just complete opposite. We dominated the early game and then completely threw away our mid game. So, yeah, that just complete opposite day. Beating TL and then losing to Golden Guardians in that fashion.
Yeah, totally. I think it was definitely an interesting week. Sorry, I'm trying to battle some audio issues. Apparently, I mean, if folks could let me know if it's better, that would be appreciated. Curly, maybe you could pad for me while I make sure things are good to go.
Yeah. I mean, another thing is, before we get into it too much, is I was actually very happy with Zeri for like the first 15 minutes of the game, and like normally I'm not happy with Zeri in the LCS, so it was very nice to see that we had a good start. And the only thing I wasn't a fan of was the lack of enabling Kuma, which is kind of what I expected would have happened with the Irelia pick, but still, it did look really, really good with Golden Guardians until it didn't. And then with TL, I just really respect how well we held out and made our comp work for us. And I feel like also we learned from the Golden Guardians loss, like what made us lose there.
Mm-hmm.
We took it to help us win on Sunday.
Yeah. Yep, would agree. All right, let's get into that game. Hopefully my audio fixes itself. I just messed around with some settings. Who knows if that fixes things. That's the thing with a live podcast. Weird side tangent. I went to a cider tasting party on Saturday night, and I met a guy who works on a very popular podcast that has like hundreds of thousands of listeners. He does like research for it, which is super cool. But he was talking all about how, you know, they'll like record their takes, you know, like they'll do like multiple takes for different segments. And I was like, dang, must be nice to be able to re-record things and never mess up live on air. That must be real nice. All right. Well, now our tech issues seem to be fixed. So let's get into the Week 7 recap. Starting with Golden Guardians. What I want to do a little differently tonight is ask for draft highlights from you guys. So, Nox, I want to start with you. What stands out to you in this draft?
For me, was the Tom Kench ban over the Ryze ban. Ryze has seen a lot of ban priority, as well as Tom Kench. I think, not just FlyQuest, by the way, a majority of the LCS teams are highly over-prioritizing Tom Kench. I think it's a good pick, don't get me wrong, but I think it is very counterable. I wish teams would put more priority onto something like a Blitzcrank, because that is very, very bad for Tom Kench if you run into a Blitzcrank. Stuff like that, right? Because this game highlighted why Ryze is getting banned. So I completely stand by Ryze bans coming through. I don't get the Tom Kench ban in this particular instance. And then, little side tangent is Golden Guardians banning Victor against us, which I find hilarious because we don't play Victor. So just wanted to point that out real quick.
Unless it's our secret scrims, you know, master pick or something like that. Curly, how about you? What stands out to you in this draft? And if it's the Tom Kench ban, awesome. But I think you mentioned Zeri actually looked good for you for once.
Yeah, for me, the two things I actually focus on were the bot lane itself. Because Zeri, you know, obviously, especially after last week, not a fan of seeing FlyQuest pick that. We just don't seem to find much success with it. And so I was pleasantly surprised when Johnson was the one that had the 2 kills in the game. And so, like, that was a good surprise. But it's just one of those champs that when we lock it in, I'm kind of like, oof moment. And then the Alistar, because if I remember correctly, the Alistar is the last pick, and given the fact that you already see the whole team comp from Golden Guardians and how they have a lot of, like, they have some good engage and CC chains and a lot of ways to start fights and a couple of people who can soak up a lot of damage. Alistar is a good answer for the soaking up part if you're able to get the right items for it and get that health. But it's a lot more limiting for its engage opportunity because you kind of have to already be in there to start the fights. And so I would have liked to have seen something more of maybe a Leona or just any other champion that could have like either been more tanky or more of an engage, because I think that's something that really screwed us over in the mid game. Is once it came to true team fights, we just didn't have a good comp for it because Irelia wasn't fed and Alistar wasn't a chunky monkey, or I guess a cow. So that's like one thing I think was a bit of a whiff on our part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for
Thoughts
me...
on it, Sandy, or... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the Kai'Sa ban was particularly interesting to me. I was, again, not a fan of the Zeri pick. I think the Zeri ended up looking better in this game than it had in previous games, but I agree that the Alistar just wasn't it for me in terms of supports. I'm not sure what else could have gone here. Maybe the Leona was an option.
And then another big thing. I don't mean to interject.
No, go ahead, please.
First pick.
Yeah.
When Jinx was wide open.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel like the Jinx would have been the better. I just would have rather taken the Jinx. There's another thing. This like relates to the Liquid game as well, but Liquid banned Ashe against us. I'm like, so maybe Ashe was something that we're like playing somehow. So I just don't like the Zeri. This was the third loss in a row, I believe, for us running the Zeri. I don't think it was the picking Zeri's fault for losing this game, but I'm just still not convinced by it.
As for the Ashe thing, it's not a hard counter. It's a very soft counter to Zeri due to the slow of all of Ashe's attacks.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into just talking about the game itself. So a couple big highlights. Tuke gets first blooded at 6:30. We trade for a kill onto Ole for Johnson in the bot lane. We also get Rift Herald and a kill at 8:30. So like by minute 10, this game felt like this early game looked really, really good. And I believe at one point we had a 2K gold lead around the 15-minute mark.
Which is huge at that point in time.
It is very huge at that point in time. I do believe they picked up first and second drag. So we did not get onto Drake's very well this game. And there's one moment in particular that I want to point out. At around the 13-minute mark, Tukui almost got a solo kill on a Blaze Olive. And then ABO has a great stopwatch that basically, if he hadn't hit it, it's the easiest button for a pro player in the world to hit. But if he doesn't hit it, the Syndra ulti just kills him. And that's, more money in Tukui's pocket. And I feel like that really helps accelerate us a little bit more. So very unfortunate. And then one other thing I want to point out before tossing it to you guys is Kumo does great in this lane. Now, he does get the Aurelia into the Gnar, so you should expect him to do well. But I think at one point I looked and he's 30 CS up, just way ahead in terms of gold. I just heard my smoke alarm go off. I apologize to everyone listening. And then I also noted Johnson at minute 14, the most gold in the entire game. I think he was up over lost by like 700 gold was the next nearest person. So my question is, it's like, how do we go from this great setup early game lead. Zeri's got 2 kills. We're funneling gold into the Zeri. We might finally get a winnable Zeri game. And then it just goes nowhere. I mean, I don't know if one of you has the answer, but bring it.
One bad team fight.
I mean,
you said one, Curly, or
one
I mean, here's the
or
thing:
many,
that one bad team fight set the tone for everything for the rest of the match.
Mm.
Because by losing that team fight, that cut, like that just halted us.
Yeah.
And because another thing is, even though we had like a kind of like gold funneled Zeri, it still didn't look like what much was happening with it. It just looked like it didn't look as much as we were winning as we weren't losing and had it some more gold. Because like it's not like, because Kumo was winning lane, but he wasn't carrying lane. He wasn't like lane king to me, Licorice. And Jose Diota was moving around the map well, but he wasn't making it so that Pride Soccer was like useless or just getting gapped. Like it didn't seem like we were really gapping anywhere. It just seemed like, all right, the ADC has 2 kills, the jungle has 1, and we have a couple turrets. That's like literally all it felt like. And then the second we lost this team fight, that took all of our momentum, capped it, and then Golden Guardians was able to use that and actually make more from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, speaking of momentum, there were 2, back-to-back moments. So at around 14:45, Tukui gets caught on a Realm Warp mid, and Pride Stalker's there to help punish for the kill. And that turns into a second Rift Herald for Golden Guardians. Or at least their first, but the second Rift Herald. And then Kumo gets killed like 45 seconds later, and that leads to them getting second drag. And I feel like, yeah, at that point, our good early game progress really came to a screeching halt. And things became a little bit more tense, because you've got the 2K gold lead, but you're also down 2 dragons, and they just picked up a second Rift Herald, so you know they're going to, use that to take down a turret. So it feels really unfortunate that those picks happened. I mean, Nox, how do you feel about those? Do you feel like it's just bad awareness? I mean, I know on the desk on Sunday, Blaze Olive actually says, like, he said that he felt that we were playing worse from home than we were on stage. Which totally makes sense to me. And I don't want to just turn this into a, like, wow, we had to play from home 2 weeks in a row, can we get mulligans on these games? But, like, I wonder how much of some of these, just bad positionings on our part were due to just, not being in a comfortable place.
I mean, I kind of talked about it last week, right? I mean, it's not the factor or the reason why, but it is part of the reason, right? Mm-hmm. In regards to the specific instances of the picks, Kumo's is not viable when he gets picked in the bot lane. Like, the rest of Golden Guardians is still there. He kind of agreed to trying to shove the lane out. I don't have a defense for him on that one. The Tuke pick in mid lane where ABO ults in, that one's a lot harder to predict because there's no vision of Pride Stalker at all. You haven't seen where he is. It's very hard to predict that he's there. And then the Realm Warp in, like, it's just like, okay, you see that. And at that point, you don't know where Pride Stalker is. And this is the part where I kind of fault Tuke a little bit. It's like, you just got to flash at that point. You have to flash it. And he ends up trying to outplay it. He just tries to put down the orb, and he tries to E it away and get the stun. And he's like, okay, I can just walk out. He technically basically greeds it. And it's what ends up getting him killed, and that's what hands over the Rift Herald. And it was just, like, respect to Tuke for having the confidence to thinking you can outplay it, but you didn't, because then ABO just flashed your E, and it was done. Whereas if you had just flashed, tanked the Summoner spell, like, you're out, and the momentum's still in your favor. Does it suck that you lost the Summoner spell? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're still alive, and you maintain your momentum as a team. So, in regards to those 2 picks, that's kind of my general thoughts on it.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I want to commend also just Golden Guardians overall this weekend. Licorice and Pride Stalker in particular. Like, Licorice, even though he was losing against Kumo, he always, like, aside from the one-time bot lane where we finally chased him down, he did a good job of not giving us much, even though he should have been losing that lane very hard. And then on Sunday, he actually looked really good on Fiora, so good job, Licorice. And then also Pride Stalker, he just seems like a very competent and collected jungler for Golden Guardian. So I want to commend them because I think they're a significant part of their success, like what helped them hold out and be able to come back against us, and of course, obviously, the Rise.
Yeah, I mean,
Stalker had a crazy weekend. That gank avoidance against Dignitas was actually like gigabrain. It was like insane.
Yeah, I definitely have. I really have Golden Guardians sneaking into playoffs. Right now, I think it would be us, EG, and Golden Guardians, just because Dig has literally the
tough week.
The gauntlet in week 8, and then EG has it like slightly easier, and Golden Guardians also doesn't have it too bad. Although there is a Golden Guardians Evil Geniuses matchup on Saturday that'll be super interesting.
So that's an inherent tiebreaker.
Yeah, definitely for 5th, 6th probably. Getting back to our Golden Guardians match. So the way this game finished so fast was crazy to me. So at 18 minutes, we can't finish the kill on Ole. He has a great stopwatch. Maybe it's time to, nerf or delete stopwatch, guys. Can't finish the kill on him. He buys so much time.
Gaming.
Stopwatch Gaming. I'm just going to create a Clash team called Stopwatch Gaming. He buys so much time. We lose 3 for none there. And when all is said and done, that ends up being like a 3,000 gold swing. So going from 2k for us to 1k for them. Afro has an engage at 21 that fails absolutely miserably, and he just dies for it, and we do nothing. They take 3rd drag. Kumo gets picked at 22. Afro and Takui get picked for free at 24:30. That's Baron. Literally 2 minutes later, they're realm warping into our base, and it's over. And I was just like, so that's how you close games out fast. Oh, that's good to know. And yeah, I mean, I just don't understand how this game just like ended so quickly. Nox, I don't know if you have any insight into that, but it was just like, wow, this game, it felt like we were in control, and then all of a sudden the defeat screen flashed on our, monitors.
Rise came online. Like, he wasn't touchable anymore at that point. And on top of the fact that Xin Zhao's just a pain in the butt to kill with the ultimate, it was just once we lost the team fight, that final team fight, it was just, okay, run it down mid, you can't stop us, just slam it shut, the end, goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
It was more than anything just what Golden Guardians comp was. Like, if you got that gold lead, which they ended up finally getting, and you get that one good team fight, it's just a run down mid, shut it off, done, GG, we're out.
Yeah, Curl, I don't know if you have any other insight you want to throw in there.
I mean, no insight. It's just watching this game kind of felt like, I don't know how much you know about Smash Bros. But for every once in a while, think I can play King DDD, and his down beat, he holds up a big hammer, and if you hold it fully charged for too long, it starts damaging you a bit. Mm-hmm. And so that's what Golden Guardians was doing. And then they wait for that one moment where we fucked up, and they smashed us off the stage. That's what this game was.
Yeah.
The King DDD down beat.
This game was the King DDD down Bs of League of Legends games.
I think, I mean, are we pretty much done with the Golden Guardians topic? Because I just was going to summarize my final thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, please. Yeah, summarize that, because I really want to hit the TL game in depth.
So, final thoughts on this is our actual game plan, fantastic. Our actual macro movements in the early game, amazing. Our in-the-moment decision-making and execution was awful, especially from Afro and Johnson this game. Yeah. Our bot lane, just specifically the first fight, like Johnson walks right over ABO's ultimate and just gets immediately nuked. On top of the fact that we're fighting in a choke point, so ABO hits like a 3-man Everfrost basically, and we just get cleaned up from there. On top of the fact that it was during like absolutely no objectives. Same thing for the fight afterwards. Afro engages on Ole, and no one can get the burst off, and Ole lives, and we get picked off that way. And then same for the final fight. It's just like we kept kind of like Afro went for multiple engages on a singular support who's very tanky, and we're playing a Syndra who just was not able to get her ult off for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I'll say is I think this was a game that, because I don't think Syndra's the play right now, to be completely honest. Mm-hmm. I think it's like an okay pick. But this game, Orianna would have been nuts. I really, truly believe Orianna would have been absolutely insane here. To pair it with the Alistar, get the ult ball combo going, on top of the support utility going with it, I think it would have been fantastic personally. But this came down to just terrible, terrible team fight decision making and execution. That's all this game was. I still think we are the better team over Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I think.
Not? What if we picked Ahri?
Nope.
Absolutely not. I feel like if we were to somehow meet them in playoffs, I would feel pretty good about a best of 5. I think we would, if this was like a game 1 in a best of 5, I think we would adapt really well and come back with a better draft and a better game plan. And yeah, they just wouldn't be able to do that to us, a second time or a third. All right. So we played 2 games this weekend, and I have to say, before we start really talking about the Team Liquid game, after losing to Golden Guardians, I was just like, oh no, here we go. This is the end. We start 5-1. We go 2-6 in our, last 8 games before this Team Liquid game. And it's just like, it's all, ooh, you good there? You look, all right, Nox is off screen for the moment. I'll just kind of keep going.
Sorry, that shook the building a little bit.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. All right. Well, stay safe, and if you need to remove yourself, please do. But I'll just keep rolling for now. Yeah. So I was just very concerned coming into this because for me, I really saw TL as an automatic loss. There's always like the chance, but on the desk, it was like Emily had us at an 18% chance. Jack gave us 25. Raz had us at 20%. It just not very likely that we were going to win this. And then you're staring down 7 and 8, being tied with a bunch of other teams at 7 and 8, and then you just trip up, once in Super Week, and boom, suddenly, oh no, you're out of playoffs, and one of the biggest collapses you've ever seen. So, all that to say, the unfaithful were rewarded in this one. So that's great to see. We love the unfaithful on this show because we do get rewarded every so often. So let's get into the Team Liquid game because this was a sight to behold. There were several just absolutely crazy moments. I'm skipping way ahead, but if anyone is ever creating like a FlyQuest highlights comp, Takui's TP into Baron Pit to flank Hans, Bjergsen, and Bwipo in top lane at the 30-minute mark.
Oh man!
Oh my gosh! Just absolutely brilliant stuff. And then I also have to shout out Ricebox, who's definitely in the chat tonight, for the funniest Discord message I saw the entire time was when Bwipo overstayed near our bot inhib and gets pounced on by Kumo and someone else and dies. And Rice just types out instantly in Discord, "Brother Bwipo," and I lost it. I lost it when I saw this. That was so freaking hilarious. All right, let's do this draft highlights thing again. I'm gonna start. Actually, I'm gonna completely bypass the obvious Tarek one. They picked Zeri Ari. Guys, our time has come to counter these awful picks with good picks of our own. We finally had the chance. I loved the Vigar. Again, I love Takui's Vigar. So freaking good. And then the other thing that stood out to me, I hope I'm not stealing too many, is just they banned Ash. Why? Just
kind of like I said, it's a soft counter to the Zeri.
That's but no one else is really playing Ash into Zeri. You don't really see it, so.
Arrow did, I think, if I remember
Did he?
correctly. Granted, he didn't play it well, but he did.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's Immortals for you.
Damn.
They lost to TSM this weekend, so there you go. Nox, hit me with your draft highlight here.
So I have one draft highlight, well, two, but the main one is that, and I'm quoting my exact notes from this.
Yeah.
TL picked like my ultimate sinner comp here. I hate their draft. It is just bad, and they're part of the reason they lose. That is directly from my notes.
So you don't like Trundle? You don't like our friendly troll jungler?
The Trundle is not the issue that I have.
Okay.
It is the first pick is Zeri.
Yeah.
Because bear in mind, like I don't think Zeri's a terrible pick, but I do not think it is first pickable. I think the Lucian top lane is like, don't get me wrong, like I get it. Like there was an interview with someone, or someone mentioned in passing on the broadcast that Gihoto was planning on like, hey, we are playing through top lane this week. That is the strategy. That is the plan. That's what we're doing. That's how we're gonna play our game. And so
don't mind me on broadcast, guys.
Yeah, I get that.
Setting something up.
You want to play through Whippo, that's fine. I just don't think Lucian blind like that is the choice, because we got the free counter pick in Gragas, which, don't get me wrong, was still fairly punished by TL, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But and then to follow that up with the Ahri, who I'm not going to bother wasting my time anymore on this stupid ass. And then you B5 a Taric, which like just doesn't seem to mesh with like TL's team comp at all. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm thrilled to see it picked, and there are some moments where it shined brightly in TL's team comp, but it just, I think that's more the core JJ's likening than the actual champion itself, right? Just core JJ can pilot it well. So yeah, this is just a sinner comp from TL. I hated this draft. And I think we did a fantastic job countering it. And my second and very, very quick point is the Veigar actually made me a little bit nervous, because I wasn't sure if, because TL's comp's kind of quick, like with the Lucian dash and the Ahri dash. I was kind of worried, and the Zeri as well. Like, it's a very fast team comp. I wasn't sure if Tuke was going to have an easy time getting cages down, but as you'll see later on in the game, didn't really matter.
Did not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Curly, I mean, hit me with your highlights here.
My draft highlights are, I love the early Nautilus lock-in, because Nautilus has been a pain in our ass quite a bit the past couple weeks, in my opinion, and it's a very powerful support pick, so I like getting it for us. And then I am a huge fan of the Tristana pick, not just because of the way it played out, but I remember last season, some of Johnson's best games, even with a sinking FlyQuest, were on Tristana. So, like, in the back of my head, this whole split, I've been thinking, all right, when can Johnson pull out the Tristana? Because it's like, I like this pick, I just don't know how it fits in the meta, because I don't really know what scrims are looking like, and, like, it's like, all right, Tristana can be good, but you have to feed her, whatever. It's a very all-or-nothing champ, in my opinion. And luckily for us, it was all. But yeah, so I really like how we planned around the bot lane.
Yeah, I think for me, I also liked, I liked the Trist pick a lot. I mean, this was definitely a, hey guys, don't worry, we scale kind of game. You know, the Lucian top starts snowballing, and then, you know, Johnson just, types in team chat, "Don't DW guys, I scale," and and then he kind of carries it from there. But let's get into some of the game highlights, and there's so much that happens in this game, so I don't know if we can really hit on it all. Knox, Curly, do one of you have particular notes that you want to hit on in the early game?
Yeah, big thing early game,
Kumo, that tower dive.
Yeah,
that tower dive was freaking beautiful, man, and he did a good job of taking a losing lane against Flippo and making it not as beneficial for him as it could be, even with what was it, 3 kills. And it's like, this man has 3 kills and Kumo's still a pain in his ass. And so that was just, I loved it so much.
Yeah, no, the Kumo dive was actually, the 1v3. I don't want to. Can you call it an outplay if you end up dying anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was still a 2v1 situation.
And first blood. And on the thickest person there.
It would be an even bigger outplay if he had lived, but it is still an outplay.
Right. Of course. Very fair.
Especially because, just the instant flash body slam. Oh, my God.
Yeah. No, that was...
Well, and then even aside from
pretty
that, right?
sick.
There were a lot of moments just in the laning phase where they would pan back up and you just see the same setup he keeps getting Whippo in, where he'd have the barrel, he'd knock him into the barrel, and suddenly 2/3 of his health bar is gone, and they both just have to back off with each other because they're both on low health.
Yeah.
Stop any push that Whippo had.
Yeah, no, it was... Yeah, I really liked the Gragas pick as well. Definitely a comfort champ for Kumo. You really can tell that he knows what he's doing on this champion. I wish it wasn't so situational, and that we could see him play up more often, because I think it's super strong for him. But yeah, still some really cool stuff. The bait at 5 minutes, where he basically, tricks Whippo into thinking that he's got an easy kill, and then out of nowhere, Jose just comes on in.
Up.
Jose just RKOs him out of nowhere and just puts him in the ground. That was really cool. I did like how we prioritized our drags in this game. So we got first and second. It's a win condition that you really should be going for, especially if you are looking to scale. Mm-hmm. And so there's 2 reasons why I really like this here. Prioritizing the dragons. And I think, Azale talked about this on broadcast, and this is something that we can definitely talk about too, is TL's draft has pretty much no engage. You kind of have, you've got the Trundle Pillar, you've got the Taric, stun, or if you wanted to rush in with the ult, kind of, but there's no, Nautilus hook. There's no, Vigar cage. There's just no engage moments that they had where they could force us into a team fight. They had to basically take any team fights that we offered, right? Otherwise, they were just picking up kills. So, really cool to see us prioritize the dragons, which then forces them to come to us at later drags for team fights, which our comp did very, very well in, as we saw later. So that was super cool to see. Really liked that. I did not like our early game, though, other than the dragons. The early game was a bit rough. Nox, you look like you got something you want to say on that point.
Yeah, Team Liquid's draft, center comp as it is, the bot lane just has to concede the Drakes, right? There's no priority in that lane while you have a Terracus. You're not going to win any duels. It's just not going to happen. So I'm very glad that we got our Drakes, but it was kind of expected. You have to concede those.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, oh my God, I'm going to have to wash my mouth out with soap, but the one thing Ari's good for is...
There it is.
Early roams, right?
Yeah.
Especially against the Veigar. The Veigar does not have great push priority, which is one of Tukoi's strengths, right? He's usually great at getting lane shoved in and kind of making sure the enemy mid laner is pushed in and unable to roam so much. Ari into Vagar, like, Ari has complete control of that lane. And Bjerg, being Bjerg, who, in my opinion, is probably #1 mid laner in the LCS right now, it does a great job shoving in the lanes, gets his roams off, and gets priority on the map, and is just, in general, a giant nuisance to FlyQuest.
Yeah.
So, and the whole point of Team Liquid's comp is you need to get going early and fast. Otherwise, what ends up happening happens, right? And we end up scaling. We take one team fight that we can actually get, and we win the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, our early game sucked, but for what it's worth, Team Liquid built to have the ultimate early game outside of the bot lane, which is why, again, this is such an ugly-ass comp from Team Liquid. I think if you're going to do an early game comp like they did, you just all in it. You do 3 pushing lanes, you go hard, and you just try and take everything. You blitzkrieg it, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think the one thing I noticed was that we were down 3,500 gold up to dragons at 15 minutes per Oracle's Elixir's early game win percentage probability calculator. That's an 18% win probability at 15 minutes for us.
Didn't Emily predict 18%?
Which is very funny that it was an 18% chance that Emily predicted for us. But here's something else I want to note. So we're down like 3,600, like about 4,000 gold around 15 minutes, right? They pick up the second Rift Herald at 15:30. They then get Drag 1 and Drag 2 for themselves at 19 and 24. But for that entire like 9-minute period, from that 15-minute to when eventually they took Baron at 25, their gold lead stagnates. That is so good for us in this comp. Like, all they want to do with their comp is take that 4K gold lead and make it 6, make it 8, make it 10. And, if it's 10K at 25 and they rush that Baron, it's GG. It's game over. But it's so interesting to me that their gold lead plateaus for 10 minutes. They get Baron, and eventually they do get up to like a 7.5, 8K gold lead. Which I'm sure they had some long discussions about how this game got away from them. How they couldn't like close it out sooner. But yeah, I think that the way we were able to just prevent them from really doing any more damage for 10 minutes, I think that's a key part to us being able to end up winning this game. Curly, I mean, what are your thoughts there?
I think there was just, once we slipped up and gave them a couple drakes, we then were like, all right, we need to make sure we're being smart about everything. And so we stopped like putting ourselves in positions where Whippo could get kills, and we put a nice defense up. And I think the key thing is during all this, something I noticed during my VOD review is even though we were down overall, Tukui for a long time was consistently 30 CS up on Bjergsen because he took advantage of the roams that he had earlier to give himself more free AP that would then matter later. And was building smart for, it's like, all right, I'm just going to keep playing safe until I get my Rabadons. And once Rabadons happens, we're getting this. And then Johnson was never quite as big, but was also having a consistent lead on Hansama and building faster and better so that they were preparing for exploding the game late. So it's like, it was just a lot of good gameplay and smart builds to make sure that the second they hit the switch of, all right, we're going to like turn it around and we are going to take control of this game, and Johnson is going to pop off. It was preparing for that moment. Because then after like the second he gets the shutdown on Whippo, I'd say the whole game goes apart. And I was a little mad at the observers because it's like you see him hop in and they decide to leave. And then you see shutdown.
The observing this game was kind of not good.
Yeah.
And it's like you literally see him hop in and you leave. It's like this is the most hype moment.
Yeah.
He got the shutdown and it was just really, really good. And
that was. Say that again.
He deleted his health bar like that.
Blades
clutch.
Hail Blades is pretty nutty on Trist.
Especially late game. It's
So so what's really cool is that like they had several opportunities, I think, to really press in for mid inhib, and somehow we managed to stave that off, and that was really cool to see. Um, and then the moment at 29 where we're like, wait a second, we have mid lane and bot river control. Let's just take mid tier 2. Like, that was such a cool macro moment to see, where we're just like, wait, they can't, we can just walk down here and we can take this. Like, that was just great. And then we get to it. Afro does fall at 29:30. We lose drag 3 to TL. But then they have 3 top. It's 30
the ultimate TP.
30 minutes and 30 seconds in the game. Takui teleports to a ward in Baron Pit, comes upriver in full fog of war. They have no idea that he's done this.
And he's got Predator pop too.
Yeah, it's a bit of, it's like one of those, you know, FlyQuest is like, you know, call an ambulance, but not for me. And then he pops the the cage and Event Horizon, and you know, every just absolutely unloads. I think Kumo's Gragas ult actually popped Hans into the cage wall, which was really cool to see. Johnson got the resets, just absolutely popped off in that fight. We, you know, hit Baron, and the gold lead literally goes from 8k to 3.5k immediately. And then very soon after that, it's down to like 1.5k. Here's an issue. Azale does point this out on the broadcast. Our waves were not synced, so we were trying to crash like bot lane into bot tower with 4, and then they're able to clear that out. And then comes Kumo, you know, so we're doing like a 4-1, so 4 down here, 1 in mid. Kumo's coming down mid, but his wave is so late that TL is just easily able to clear out bot wave and then come up and clear out mid wave, and they don't really lose anything there, so it just stalls the game out. So something for us to work on, I think, is when we've got Baron, you know, keeping those waves synced and making sure that we can crash them all at the same time. So that's important there. Nox, anything you want to say about, you know, the flank, the ensuing team fights, you know, all of it?
It's just that kind of resilience that I want to see from this FlyQuest squad, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're just getting battered all game long. You're playing against an early game comp, and it's just, you got to wait for that one moment. You know that their team comp falls off. You know they're not going to be able to win team fights. You just got to wait for it and look for the right moment. And I'm very, very happy with whoever made the call. Probably, honestly, it was Tuke, because, I mean, he's the one who TP'd, right? But, like, whoever made that call to go for that flank top side, because that was a huge game changer. And from, like, there on out, like, TL's just screwed. Like, you have to split push the rest of the game. And then I don't know how this game goes if, like, Bwippo escapes and doesn't go full brother Bwippo in our bot lane inhib turret, right? But, yeah, like, that's, like, TL's only hope, right? Is, like, you just split push to victory. But there's no way we allow that at any point, because we just continually win 5v5s from that point on.
Yeah.
I don't really have much else to say outside of this game, outside of great job stagnating the bleeding, especially in an early game comp like this. Great job finding the pick when it mattered most. And I'm very, very happy with the resilience. Like, that's what I want to see, especially after the game on Saturday, where I'm sure the guys were feeling like crap due to a loss like that. Like, it was fantastic to see the guys bounce back like that. I'm just very, very happy that we beat TL, because Lord knows that we needed that win if we wanted to stay in this playoff race.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Curly, give me like some final thoughts, and then I'll give a couple. I've like one very important final thought to
a couple
note.
things. Yeah, a couple things I really want to highlight about the late game is particularly the way we handle Drakes when we get our third point and finally get the soul. And then even the ones we give away, is consistently we have really good like map movement to either be in the bot side jungle or have it completely warded so that we see everything TL is doing to set up for these. And then in our third Drake, we just do a great job of using our abilities and strength to just keep them zoned away from the Drake. They can't even try to approach us, and so we get it for free. And then in the fourth one, we just have a really good team fight, especially that Grog assault separated the entire team. It's like it was in the center of them, blew them out, separated it, made it impossible for them to have a proper team fight. And so just really good coordination from the team in the late game to finish our Drake stacking, and then eventually win it all. And just shout out to Johnson, dude. You looked freaking great, man.
I actually think he had a pretty good weekend overall. I just think the first game, like his early game against GG, looked really good. And then he looked really good in this game. Yeah, several just quick final notes. The brother Bwippo moment. Thank you, Bwippo. Check PayPal, please. That let us take Baron super easy. Santorin got caught out in the final fight. Speaking of, Azael, you... so-and-so, he literally goes, this could be the final fight, when literally he is like looking out, he can look out on the stage, and he can probably see that Team Liquid has already left, because here's what happens, like 2 minutes later, they go for the base race cams, and this is what you see. On the cam, you just see an empty chair. Alright, Azael, you're over here. This could be the final fight, guys. And you know very well that Team Liquid has already left the stage. The game's over. It's been over for 5 minutes. Azael, you know. Oh, man, that just... I don't know. Chair versus FlyQuest, the matchup of the century. Yeah, just absolutely hilarious. One other quick final note about the final team fight. Hans made a really questionable positioning choice, where I think Bjerg and Core were going up left through our jungle. He decides to vault over with Zeri and go to the right, and this completely splits him off from his teammates, and we're just able to single him out and take him down. I don't know if that would have saved the game, but it certainly didn't help. So there's that. All right. Any final thoughts on this TL game? Because we've still got a few things to hit.
We are still not 0-2 to anyone in the LCS.
Wow. That's actually crazy. That's super cool. That's nutty. All right. Welcome back to another edition of everyone's favorite podcast game show. Podcast within a podcast. It's time for Bait or Great. Welcome back to Bait or Great. It is a League of Legends podcast within a League of Legends podcast. Today on Bait or Great, the topic is double marksman comps. Are they bait or are they great? Now we've seen, we saw TL play this Lucian top alongside the Zeri bot. Faker has popularized the Kaisa mid that people are now picking up in solo queue. I mean, obviously you would play that with another ADC, but double marksman comps. I think they can look good. Sometimes they don't look good. I mean, so what's the verdict? Are they bait or are they great? Nox, we're gonna start with you.
Got me thinking on this, actually.
Yeah, I know. This is a good one.
I
almost had you guys, do bait or great on Taric, and then I was like, no, that's too easy. I want a stumper here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with when the marksman is in the. I'm gonna give two answers here. When the marksman is in the top lane, I think it's generally a bait. But when the marksman is playing from mid lane, I think it can actually be very great. So yeah, depending on where the marksman is going, I would say in most general circumstances, if the marksman is going top lane, I think it's generally a bait for most teams. But if you're putting it mid lane, I think it can absolutely be great.
All right, cool. Curly, double marksman comps, bait or great?
I think in general the way that LCS meta is, it's a little bit baity. That being said, I'm gonna also give the saving grace of you have to do it right for it to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are even top lane marksman things you could do. Like I think Vayne top is a better choice than Lucian top, if I'm being honest. And if you would consider Quinn, you like if you're gonna take a marksman top, it should be a marksman that is known for being annoying top, or Callista as someone I used to hate dealing with in the top lane. I don't know how that translates to the stage, but she's got a ridiculous solo early game. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you got to pick it right if you're going top. Whereas mid, if this Lucian was 3-1 in the mid lane, you could roam side, roam bot because of all the dash and the movement speed and everything you've got. It's way better. So it's definitely like you got to make sure you're using the right marksman in the right lanes to do the double marksman comp right. Otherwise, you're going to kind of have what you had now, where eventually the team figures it out, stagnates it, and you're not able to go far. Because now you've got 2 glass cannons who can be popped pretty decent.
Yeah. No, I like the arguments all around. For me, I'm still undecided. I need a little bit more data. I think Kaisa mid is super dope though. I love that. I think that's so freaking cool. I know some people out there are like, "Ooh, this is a little bit of a toxic thing to be playing," and I'm just like, bring it on. I love seeing some good Kaisa play. So,
Bro, have you ever seen a Jin mid that works? That's toxic.
that sounds disgusting. And fortunately, there are plenty of things out in this world that are not Jin mid and are not disgusting, like our Proving Grounds performance so far. Definitely not disgusting. The 2-0 in the play-in stage for FlyQuest Academy. They did have to go through a little bit of a tougher schedule to get through into that. And by tougher, I mean they absolutely wiped Wildcard Aces in the first game. Second game was a little bit more of a happy game to start, but this felt like absolutely no problem at all. Knox, as our resident Academy amateur expert, I mean, how are you feeling about FlyQuest Academy coming into round 1, where they will be taking on 100 Next this Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Eastern time?
I think from all the games that we've watched so far, the only real close, like in terms of Academy versus Amateur, the only close series that there's been so far has been Maryville versus TSM Academy. In which case, that like Maryville, in my opinion, is probably like this, maybe not the second, probably the third best amateur team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, and you have to keep in mind, this Maryville team did beat 100 Next in the most recent Proving Ground Open qualifiers. So they're good. They're very good. And they're playing the lowest Academy team. So with all that in mind, like I'm trying to give like people like an idea of the power rankings and like what to expect. Most of the Academy teams have just been absolutely stomping the amateur teams so far.
Yeah.
With that said, this is the best, in my opinion, and I think a lot of the people's opinion, amateur team there is. They're backed by one of the most successful orgs in the LCS. This probably will give us a little bit of a push. I'm not going to lie. I think this 100 Next team is probably right around the same level as we are in the Academy standings, and it's going to be an actual tough fight, I think. I do think we will win it, but don't expect it to be like any of the other Academy versus amateur matchups. Like this one, we're going to have to work for, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Curly. I mean, good start, obviously, to the layman's eye, beating Wildcard Aces. 100 Next, I feel like they should still, like, more formidable of opponent, but I think this should still be a dub. And I think you can get into, I know there's been some debate over the way PGs were seeded, but I feel like this is a very winnable series for the Academy boys. And I feel like they've really shown a lot of improvement over the last several weeks. That was an awkward silence. I mean, how do you...
I was like, oh, I thought Curly cut out for a second.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I just feel like they've been just really improving. They showed a lot of... It showed way better early game in that first game against Wildcard Aces for sure. Just looked like their decision-making was way better. Yeah, what were your thoughts on that series and then coming up into 100 next Wednesday night?
So, once again, not able to actually catch this match, so I'm going off. Yeah, so I'm going off of what you guys are saying about it. So, I didn't get to watch the series. I'm glad we were able to take on Wildcard Aces and 2-0, especially considering what I've seen. It seems like we've been a little flip-floppy over the course, especially of the split, especially since most series ended up 1-1. That being said, I personally give a lot of respect to 100 Next as an amateur team, especially because of just the way 100 Thieves is as an organization, in particular General Sniper. He's supposed to be the next great LCS prodigy. And so it's in this series, my eyes are going to be particularly on how Philip handles him. But overall, I do think it's probably going to be a 2-1 because it is best of 3, correct?
Yep, it is.
So I think it should be a 2-1 just because if you're in Academy, you should be able to hypothetically beat every amateur team. And granted, that's not always the case. That's why Proving Grounds is the way it is. That's why no org won last year, because sometimes you just don't.
Mm-hmm.
But this should be a case where we are able to go on to the next round. After that, not sure, but I think we're going to be able to clinch it out.
Yeah. Knox, what would your series score prediction be?
2-1.
2-1.
I absolutely think 100 Next is going, because I mean, you got to look at the roster, right? Like, did we already announce what 100 Next roster is?
No, we have not discussed that, but it is Sniper, General Sniper, for those of you who know by that name, Fnatic.
Who's an ex-FlyQuest Academy jungler, by the way, from back in 2019.
Insanity, last year's starting mid laner for Immortals. Array, I don't know a lot about Array, and then Sword, who I believe is a PCS player.
He was also originally the mid laner for TSM Academy last year.
Yeah, so he just rolls up. So this is a stacked amateur roster where you've got some young talent, what you could call like veteran talent, at least in comparison to most other amateur scenes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Why did I say Sword is a PCS player? I saw the flag and I was like, oh, that's the.
On PCS, got it.
That's the PCS flag. Duh. He is Taiwanese, but his residency is North America. I assumed too much just based off of the flag. Apologies there. So yeah, this team is stacked. I really hope we win this. I really don't want to go down to losers bracket first thing. I think that'd be a really poor showing. I think I'm with you guys that we should win this, literally based off the fact that we're the Academy team. But I also do think it'll be a 2-1. Proving Grounds going on pretty much like all week. There are
on right now, actually.
Going on right now. I'm sure Knox is half watching it, to be fair. Yeah, there's games. There's basically 2 best of 3s every day through Wednesday, and then next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, they just keep going all throughout until mid-April. So tons of Proving Grounds going on. Yeah, looks like Immortals AoE's top laner Anime Girl just got a solo kill on Dignitas Academy's top laner Eclipse. So, hey, AoE. I think Dig won the first game.
They did. They stomped them first game.
Yeah. So hey, maybe things will be a little bit different. Maybe we've got a series on our hands. I like watching amateur teams do well, unless they're 100 next and they're playing FlyQuest Academy. So,
I will say it's going to be very nice not becoming a Academy podcast this time around because I'm pretty sure we're going to make playoffs.
yeah, we'll actually have FlyQuest playoffs to talk about. Well, we'll at least have one. We'll have like definitely one best of 5 to talk about in terms of previewing, and then, maybe one best of 5 to recap. Who knows how things will go? We'll see. But it's still to be determined what place we will go into. So let's hit that Week 8 preview, because this is where it all comes down. Currently sitting in 4th place. 1 game advantage over Dig, EG, and Golden Guardians. All right. Super Week did not go so hot for us last time. If I recall correctly, my smoke alarm is still going off. I absolutely love it. It's not tilting me at all, guys. Yes, lost to EG, lost to Immortals, lost to Cloud9, an 0-3 Super Week. Need to not repeat it. Currently, the way things stand, basically just need to win 1, and we are in playoffs for sure. And we have some very winnable games. I would say 2 very winnable games and an unlikely game. But as we saw this past week, we can beat TL. Cloud9 is also beatable. They lost to TSM. So there are options
now the 9th best team.
There are options here for us. All right, let's start. First game of the week, I believe, is... No, I'm sorry. I have it mixed up. Let me fix that real quick. It's EG. EG versus FlyQuest. Let's talk about that. EG still has not really picked it up. They're still kind of like, ho-hum. I mean, they lost to 100 Thieves and beat EG this past week. The week before that, lost to TL but beat TSM. So they're kind of doing like the whole, all right, beating the teams they should be beating and then losing to the teams that they should be losing to. But everyone expected them to be way better than this and to contest those top 3 teams. So, I mean, I feel like there is room here to predict us to win this.
Oh, yeah, no, this is absolutely a winnable game for us. It's going to be close. This is probably the closest matchup that we're going to have all weekend, right? I'm really, really hoping that we just... EG's all over the place, so it's like it's hard to pin down like what FlyQuest should attack, right? I'm just really, really hoping EG kind of lands on tails, and B, not that they're like coin flippy, but like just like they're inconsistent. They're just super inconsistent. And B, I just really hope that FlyQuest is showing up on game day, looks good, and like replicates the early games that we've been showing earlier this week, right?
Yeah.
Like even against the TL loss, the TL win. Like our early game for a little bit was looking okay, and even then we still played well enough to stagnate the early game team comp. If we have that quality of play in the early game, like I can see us beating EG. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it really comes down to like which EG shows up on the day and which FlyQuest shows up on the day. Like this is a hard match to predict.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Curly, I mean, how are you feeling about it?
It's such a hard thing to pick. That being said, I have already put in my pick'ems, so I do know my decision on this. Because
oh my,
Monday. Oh, dude, I always do Monday pickup. It's my favorite thing to do. Still top 3, technically 6, but anyway. My big thing is I will always, until decisively proven otherwise, put Takui above 8 other top laners, and Jojo Pion is one of those mid laners. Gosh dang. My point is, we should not lose mid in any way, shape, or form. All right, so that's one of the biggest things I think we would have going for us. Then Inspired has looked. He doesn't look as strong as he did in the LEC to me. You know, he doesn't look quite as on his game consistently, and so I think Jose Dioto could, you know, gap him. The only concern I have is the side lanes, and as long as we set Kumo up for success against Impact, like we did on Saturday or on Sunday against Bwipo, and then I think Danny is the only person in the LCS that Zeri should ever be banned against. Because yes, Danny, in my opinion, single-handedly is a major part of why 100 Thieves had to try 3 times to beat them yesterday. So I do think we can beat EG. We just have to be concerned about the side lanes and play smart.
All right, so you're putting yourself down for a fly win.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, Nox. I mean, did you make a decision on it?
Quick highlights. I agree with Curly. I think we need to get Kumo onto something that can handle impact. Inspired has not looked all that great, whereas the past couple games, I think Jose's had actually very, very good early game pathing. I will say the only person outside of Bjergsen that Tukui has had lane shoved into him and has not had lane priority has been Jojo Pyun. That is the only other mid laner in the LCS that has actually given him not trouble per se in lane, but actually pushes him. So just something to keep in mind there. And then at least while in lane, we should win the lane phase of the bot lane. Come mid game, I think Danny's more than time and time again proven that he's one of the best out of lane AD carries in the league right now, which is what it is. But at least in lane, I think we should be able to win. So Jose has options here. And with all of that said, the final point I want to point to before I make my decision is, guess which side we're playing on?
Red side.
It's a fly win. Put it down.
All right, so I'm gonna counter. I'm putting down EG, and here's why. I am terrified that this team is going to just suddenly flip the switch and turn it on, and I just really am. And I'm when we played them in Super Week, and now this week, I'm just like, they could just go off. This is a team that can absolutely just run. And I'm just concerned over some of the trends I've seen from us. The loss to Golden Guardians kind of shook me a little bit. I really thought that should have been a win. I mean, it was great to see the TL come back, but I just really feel like EG still has it. Now, moving to Immortals, this should be an easy dub. I think there's no question about it. Boom. Lock it in. #FlyWin. Let's go FlyQuest in the chat. Tukey time, all that. It's just easy. I mean, Nox, Curly, I would be shocked to hear you guys say anything different.
Yeah, not to jinx us, but I'm not even going to bother justifying because I want to save time. It's a fly win here.
Yeah.
Immortals doesn't look good.
Curly?
My only question is, has 100 Thieves faced Immortals yet in the second round robin?
Yes. They
Yes,
lost.
They're 1-1.
Yeah.
They beat them.
Yeah.
Then we're in.
All right.
Last time I said, how do you lose to a Thieves? And then we lost to.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that we're in sync, that we're beating them together.
Right.
100 Thieves throw out the left punch, we throw out the right punch.
Yeah. We got to knock Immortals to the ground together. As two orgs working in tandem to both make top 4 in LCS. All right, Cloud9. Here's the big toughie. I'm not feeling it. I just think they're just still too good, even with losing to TSM. Right? TSM had the home buff. They had the fired coach buff. They had the tactical finally played the game buff. They had the, whatever other buff you want to talk.
Makes you an MVP buff.
Yeah, exactly. So that I'm putting myself down as C9 winning this one. Do you guys have alternative theories and explanations for me?
I'm gonna agree with you. I don't think we win this. I think Summit had a bit of an off weekend this past weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't look nearly as good. That's just one weekend, though. And straight up, unless Kumo can find a pick, Kumo and Sharks can find a pick that can be blinded into Summit, because I don't see a world where Cloud9 lets him get counterpicked.
Because we're blue side in this game.
Yeah, we're blue side in this current matchup. I don't see a world where Kumo could find a matchup that doesn't just get smacked in, right? I'm really hoping that's not the case. I'm really hoping Kumo can hold his ground this time around, but evidence points to show that Summit is looking for the MVP title. He's looking like the best top laner, hands down. He's been smacking pretty much everyone around outside of this past weekend, right? So that alone is probably gonna make me not have faith. Hopefully I'm proven wrong though. Maybe if we make it a point to attack Fudge in the mid lane and really get Decoy going and get him on something that's not like a Syndra, because I think you need something that's a little more hard carry. There's a possibility there. I think Jose's good enough in the early game to keep track of Blabber as well. So if we can mitigate him there, there's a chance. But overall, at the end of the day, I still think Cloud9 is going to win this.
Yeah, Curly, how do you feel about this Cloud9 matchup?
Our biggest shot to make our unanimous decision incorrect is, I think we need to see a Takui carry and a Kumo not Scion weak side. And so
anything but Scion, yeah.
I despise the Scion pick personally, but yeah. But because I think we can easily lane Kingdom in the middle. I think Fudge has done a great job.
I think Fudge is a serviceable top 5 mid for sure.
No, he is serviceable top 5, still below Takui.
Yeah.
Blabber looked weird to me yesterday against CLG, so I'm if we have that come back next Sunday, might be a point of pressure. But Summit dude is 1v9ing the entire LCS. So
yeah.
I'm just glad he hasn't sent out another ominous tweet our way.
Yeah.
Please, Summit, no more ominous tweets.
Yeah, no more ominous tweets.
No, it's one of my favorite content bits of the LCS, but it's you're doomed if he tweets about
you.
For real.
For real. All right. Well, that's the Week 8 preview. Time for our final segment of the evening, the Smash Moment. Kodorin, back once again, taking some names at Smash Camp 2022 as I pull up my my stats and stuff here. So great tournament for him. Another dub. I believe how many people were in this one? It was almost two. It was 166 entrants, so a bit bigger than the one he did last weekend. The Town Throwdown, I believe, was that one. So he won that, made main bracket, which was top 32. So that was super cool to see. He made it to top 8, no problem. He did have a 3-2 in winners quarterfinals over Zamu, and then had to go to top 8. Where I will note, in winner semis, he dropped 3-1 to Spark, and then this dropped him down to losers bracket. So he then had to play Suf, S-U-F, and he 3-1'd him in losers quarters. He went on to play Albert in losers semis and 3-2'd him. played Spark again. So the guy that he just lost to in winter semis, right? He plays Spark again. He lost to him 3-1. He flips it, and he goes 3-1 over Spark. Love to see that. And then he has to go up against SFAT in grand finals. And if you guys know anything about SFAT, this guy is not a pushover. This is a good player. SFAT, I think ranked 6th in SoCal at one point. I don't think I don't know if this has been updated on his Smash.
He's really reputable. He is a good.
Yeah. He's a definitely like a top tier Smash player, but Kadoran beats him in grand final 3-1, and then because that means there's a reset needed, Kadoran has to beat him basically back to back in best of 5s, and so he does that in a 3-1, and then he beats him again in a 3-2. Super nutty. Be sure to go back and watch those VODs because the finals matches were total bangers. Always great to see a grand finals reset, and hey, when Kadoran's doing it, that's just
even better.
Even better. Extra bonus. And like all that to say, the man is really ramping up. I said this last week about the town throwdown when he won that, but now here he is. He beats SFAT in back-to-back best of 5s. So that's just so freaking cool to see. Again, ramping up for Genesis 8, getting prepared for that. Really, really good to see him just in top form right now. And that is the most important thing. You don't want to be going into a tournament like Genesis 8, on a losing streak, not doing so hot. This man is absolutely crushing it in these tournaments. And these are not just like local, tournaments where he kind of comes in and steamrolls the competition. Like these are people who are taking, entire games off of him. So be sure to go back and watch the VOD for those finals. I know I will be watching them a little bit over again because I could only catch parts of it. But yeah, definitely something to pay attention to, as I don't know when his next tournament is, but I'm sure
they're hard to find out. It kind of just pops up on social media.
He kind of just like tweets like, "Hey, I'm playing in this thing."
Won this.
Yeah. He looks like he's signed up for something called Giga Schwab 2, which is an online thing. And I can't. Looks like there's some people in it. Ginger,
there's individuals.
Laud, Lucky. Oh, Magi's in it. It looks like it's only online. I don't know what Giga Schwab 2 means, but he at least is in this tournament, so I'm sure he'll be playing in that, and I'm sure that'll be live streamed. But that's about it. Before we get to the final shoutouts, any other FlyQuest notable mentions that you guys want to throw out there?
More than anything, I'm just very glad the guys bounced back against TL.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to emphasize the resilience, and I'm really hoping that we don't repeat the past Super Week.
Yeah.
And because Road Roller's requesting, I guess we can acknowledge the fact that I'm still last place in fantasy, even though I'm second in points for whatever, and I had the second most points this week, and I happened to play the guy who also scored the most.
It's
I'm not
very
salty or tilted at all.
It's very important that all of you root for Noxwar to lose his 8th fantasy week in a row so that he just completes the perfect 08 fantasy season.
That would be
that would be absolutely blissful. If that happens, I will be putting that up on stream for the entirety of next week. That'll just be a static, right next, you see where the kind of predictions are? To the right of that, under Noxwar, it'll just show the, Noxwar lost in fantasy 08. Yes, as Ricebox says, the 08 dream.
Yep.
It is alive and well, the king of last place. Who is, I didn't get to see who is in the finals.
me and Road.
It is Curly versus Road Roller, so that'll be
Curly Corp versus the McDonald's Oak.
Yeah, all right, that'll be absolutely banger of a finals. We'll have to, and remember, if Road wins this, I think I said I was gonna give him like, what was it, $10 RP, 15 something? I forget what it was.
If I win, I just get nothing.
If you win, you just get You just get a nice pat on the back and the pride, a sense of pride.
Come to Ohio and give me a pat on the back.
No, a sense of pride and accomplishment. To reference an old Blizzard meme, I believe.
Does that mean I'd get stalked by the Golden Guardians Younger?
Maybe that could be the case.
He's outside of my window.
Yeah. Curly, any parting thoughts? And we'll do like the real shout outs and everything at the end of the show, but any final FlyQuest thoughts?
Final FlyQuest thoughts is like not just League, just as a whole. I kind of like the trajectory of the org right now because like aside from the League team starting off well, and I'd consider beating TL a decent point to potentially bounce back, and almost certainly making playoffs. Just like what I've seen from social media and how they're really expanding their team so that they have like a solid organization to work with. I just see good things on the horizon for FlyQuest if we keep all that.
Agreed.
Agreed.
All right. Before we close out the show, want to thank our friends who were so generous tonight. 100 Talk Pod for giving out 3 gifted subs. Greatly appreciate that. And as well, Arski for giving out a gifted sub. Thank you so much to you fellas, to you fine folks, for the support. Really appreciate it. Hope the folks who received the gifted subs get to enjoy their shiny new sub badges. And that will be it for this episode of Flight Check, the 1-year anniversary episode. We didn't do anything like super too special. It was just a classic traditional episode of the show. But we always get to have some fun, have some good banter, laugh about empty chairs, and Azael calling team fights the end of the game before the game's even ended.
It's just a traditional episode.
It's just a traditional. It's another day in the office. Just another day in the office.
The real gift was TL losing.
It really was. Super Week. It's this week, starting Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Big games. The playoffs will be decided. There are technically 3 spots left. You could probably say 2. We can almost be expected to make it in. So be sure to keep up with us on Twitter for all of our thoughts, Tukey memes, the Let's Go meme that I always post when we win, man.jpg if we lose. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at SantosDB, Nox at Noxwar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Crew Discord as well, where all kinds of esports discussion and tornado warnings and fantasy banter take place. And if you missed any part of this episode, the VOD will be up on YouTube later tonight or tomorrow morning, depending. And the audio version of this episode will be up on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, all your favorite audio listening platforms early tomorrow morning as well. If you are listening to that and would like to catch the show live, we broadcast the episode every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Knox, how's the weather down there in Texas?
It has actually calmed down. We have survived the tornado.
Excellent.
We made it through the show.
I went over to Twitter to do some quick research during the show, and I happened to see like a 45-second video of a tornado in where was it? Now I've completely lost where this. It was like Glen, Texas, or something like that.
Glenrose, Texas.
No, I'm sorry, Elgin, Texas.
Oh, Elgin.
Elgin.
That's not too close to me.
All right. Well, I'll post this in the Discord, and you can take a look. Everyone can enjoy some nice tornado footage. We love that around here. Well, glad to hear you're feeling okay, and that there's been no power outages. That was a nice blessing.
We only had 1 building shake. Kind of surprising.
Hey, not too bad. Curly, or do you have any shout-outs, any things you wanted to plug before we go?
It has been an awesome year. I'll try not to steal everything from Curly, but I do really, really want to give a huge shout-out to Drek, who helped
Yeah.
assist us getting this podcast up and running, getting it attention, and just all the help and advice over the past year from him, even after he stepped down from his role at FlyQuest.
Mm-hmm.
Big thank you to him, and also a happy birthday to him. Today is also his birthday. So if you are in his Discord, or you follow him on Twitter, or you know of him in another Discord, please go tell him happy birthday. The man deserves a bunch of love and support. Thanks, Drek. You've been awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Drek, for sure. Curly, any final shout outs or plugs?
Shout outs. Well, shout out to you guys for being one of my favorite things to look forward to every Monday. You know, just this nice conversation about League of Legends, whether it's good, whether it's bad. I just know that we're always going to have a good time and hit the head on the nail. But it's been a nice journey with you guys, and I really appreciate it. And then also, quick plug. I am running there's still like plenty of time to sign up for my 1v1 tournament on Saturday, where I will be giving away a FlyQuest Basics tee or $20+ of RP if you win. So you really should enter that, because it's going to be a fun time, and it might overlap with LCS a bit, but it's going to be good. You know, if you got 2 monitors, you can play on one, LCS on the other, and then me in the background. But yeah, so do all that. That's my plug, my shout outs.
Excellent. My shout out goes to, again, the FlyQuest social media intern, whoever's making these memes, whoever's doing this. Absolutely banger job. I mean, the FlyQuest social team has literally never been better. Like, these are some top tier bants and memes and jokes, and man, I hope whoever this is, they get hired on in a full-time position, because they're just absolutely crushing it right now. And it just makes interacting with a team just even more fun, and just, you know, way more meaningful when you know you can get a good spicy answer sometimes in return. So that is my shout out there. We will be back next week to discuss the end of the LCS season. We'll know what playoffs look like, all that jazz. So that's super exciting. So for now, I'll just say, please stay safe out there, especially in tornado-prone regions. Don't forget to hit the head on the nail, and we will see you all very, very soon. Adios.
Thank you, everyone, for watching over the past year. Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.